Okay, good evening, folks. This is a depiction, I guess, of the carjacking that took place in Philadelphia a few days ago, I guess it was. So if you have not seen the video of that, you can go to my community page. You can look at it there. Also, I actually shared it on my community page from Southern Prepper One's video. He called it "Be Careful, Stay Alert," I believe. And so he shared it to his page first, and I put it on my community page. But anyway, it's only 49 seconds long, which is very telling because it does not take long to be a victim of a crime. If anyone's ever been a victim of a crime, you know exactly what I'm talking about. If you know someone has been a victim or what have you. But anyway, I'm going to go over what happened, and then I'm going to go over some suggestions on how this could have possibly been prevented, or how another option this man could have had, the victim could have had, in my estimation. I reviewed this video several times, many times now. So I think I've got a pretty good idea of what he could have done. And also considering the fact I've been in similar situations myself, several times, as a matter of fact, where I could have been surrounded. It could have gotten bad quickly. So without further ado, alright, here's what happened. Man's pumping his gas here, okay? First of all, there's a man that begins to walk this way, okay? Now, you can't really tell in the video whether he sees him or not. He might be seeing him. It doesn't look like it. It looks like he's pretty much focused on pumping his gas. So this guy just kind of casually walks around this way, you know, right past him, okay? And he's not paying attention. And this is broad daylight, all right? Over here, you have like a little bit of a parking lot, a lot more space here, and I'm guessing the store is probably somewhere down here. You can't really see it on camera. And you've got a roadway, you got a little median with some grass, another roadway, okay? So not as much space here as down here, it doesn't appear. But anyway, this guy comes around the gas pump. This is the first assailant. There's 3 overall. And then he comes up and then he grabs this guy from behind around his neck, and he begins to take him to the ground while he's pumping the gas. Then a second assailant comes in this way, and then he begins to attack him. And the third guy runs in, and it looks like he has something in his hand. You can't really tell. It might have been a cell phone or something. I don't know. You know, because during the course of him getting taken to the ground and getting beaten up, you know, something flies out this way. It looks like a cell phone or something. I can't really tell. I don't know if he kicks it or throws it out or what have you. But anyway, after they beat him, the third assailant comes and he runs and he picks up whatever the item is. He comes around this way. He gets into the passenger side. Then the first assailant comes in. He gets into the driver's side. And then the second guy gets in the back seat of the driver's side. In the meanwhile, the guy that gets beaten up, not horribly, it doesn't appear, he's able to crawl and then stand up and then run away this direction while these guys steal his vehicle. All right, now, okay, car, pump, victim. All right. So what could he have done? Well, first of all, you got to be paying attention to your surroundings, okay? It's pretty hard because you can't see around the vehicle, okay, this way. But you got to, while you're pumping the gas, yeah, you focus on pumping your gas and everything, how much money you're spending, blah, blah, blah. But you got to be aware of your surroundings. It's called situational awareness. When this dude starts walking this way, you got to be asking yourself, what's the deal? Why is he walking so close? Why is he walking in this direction when the store's down here most likely? At least that's the way it seems. You know, what's his deal? Does he have a right to walk through? Yeah, sure, he does. But you got to be aware. You don't want to let anybody get behind you, all right, as much as possible. So once this guy uses this to conceal the fact that he's coming around, uses the pump to conceal that he's coming around, it's too late. Game over, okay? And he's obviously the distraction because the another guy comes in after he does the primary attack. Another guy comes in, then the third guy, okay? Now, the thing about this whole thing is the victim, okay, he has a choice here, all right, whether he realizes it or not, all right. He could have, had he seen this guy, it might seem, well, that's kind of paranoid or whatever. Well, better to be paranoid than take a beating and having your car stolen. May not be able to avoid the car being stolen, but at least you don't have to get beat, okay? Because that's what they wanted, obviously, was his car. All right? When he sees, he's pumping the gas here, okay, in his vehicle. When he sees this guy, if he sees him, or if he notices, has a feeling or whatever, that somebody's coming behind him, then he needs to leave the pump, head this direction, and that way he has a better view of the area. Okay, now he can see everything, and now this guy is wondering, hey, what's going on here? And as the second guy comes up, it's like, uh-oh, now you're seeing everything. Aha. Now these guys don't know what to do. They're like, okay, this guy has left the pump, he's heading this way. Why is he heading? Because he's ready to draw his weapon. That's why. Because he's a concealed weapons permit holder, or whatever the case may be, or he's just carrying because he cares about his life and his family's life. And so he is ready. And so the reason he came out this way is so he can get a better view of what's happening. And now these guys are like, what do we do? Are we going to continue to try to steal his car? Because now he's drawn his weapon. And he's been practicing at the range, and he knows how to draw, and he knows how to get in a good shooter stance, and he's ready to go. And so now these guys are not sure what to do. The assailants, the would-be assailants, are not sure what to do. Are they going to still try to steal his car, where he might shoot them now, and he's legally within his rights to do so, because they're trying to steal his car, right? And he can articulate that, hey, these guys were going to carjack me because he was trying to come up behind me, all right? And if I didn't come out this way, he would have attacked me. And then what are these two clowns doing? See, it's how you explain things. It's how you articulate it. Most likely, I've been in these situations a few times myself, most likely you draw down on somebody, they're going to run. You know, unless you hold them at gunpoint, which I've had to do that, you know, or somebody beat the crap out of their girlfriend and so forth. I had to hold them at gunpoint to the police, or I work in armed security. But anyway, you know, when you draw, you know, you got to be ready. You make that commitment, and then you got to be ready to decide what are you going to do at that point. And so he decides to draw down. These guys will likely run, because they weren't armed. Now the situation could be, well, what if they're armed? You could be in a gun battle. Yeah, you could be. That's possible. There is no perfect situation. But you've drawn first, you know, and if they start to draw, that's why you've been at the range. You've been practicing. That's why you know how to shoot. You know how to shoot center mass, right? You know how to shoot to stop the threat, not to kill. And now you save your life. And what if you've got little kids in the car, or somebody else is in the vehicle scared to death? Now in this situation, it appears it was just him. Right? These guys don't care who else is in the car. They could have ran and stolen the car. He could have had kids in the back seat or what have you. Okay, so you got to defend yourself, defend your family, or whoever else is in the vehicle, right? So that's an option. Okay, now what if he's not armed? Okay, still you go out this way. Okay, so that way you still get a better view of everything that's going on. Maybe they still steal your car. You get a good, you know, description of the suspects. You know, you know what your plate is, and you make them out of your vehicle and so forth. It's all on camera anyway. So maybe, you know, they steal your car. You know, better your car than your life, right? And then or taking a horrible beating, you know, and I don't know. But then you've got your family in there, you got your kids in there, whatever the case may be. Then what? So, you know, see, this is why people have to be aware. They have to commit. They have to decide what they're going to do. And once they make that choice, you can't back down from it. Okay? And the last thing is a suggestion too. When you're pumping gas, okay, whether you're armed or unarmed, lock your car while you're pumping the gas. Don't lock the keys in the car, obviously, but lock your car. Most people, you know, electronic locks, you know, you can lock your vehicle, you know, while you're pumping the gas. That way, if you do get jacked or whatever the case, they try to steal, they can't get in your vehicle. Most likely, they're going to run away. Now, they might still want the keys or whatever the case may be. And maybe this guy, he didn't see it. He's a concealed carry holder or whatever, concealed permit holder or whatever. And as they have him down on the ground or whatever, maybe he's able to draw and shoot then while he's on the ground or what have you, because now they want his keys to get into the vehicle. But at least you've bought time and you're trying to protect whoever's in the vehicle. And even if they're not, nobody's in the vehicle is still locked and it's harder for them to get in. So there's a lot of things to consider here, but the bottom line is it's situational awareness. You don't let people get in behind you. You don't let them walk behind you. You don't, when you're sitting in a restaurant or church or whatever else, you got to be aware of who is behind you. The door is most likely behind you. Do you really want to be sitting with your back to the door? Yeah, a lot of times you don't have a choice when you're in church or whatever the situation may be. You'd like to think that's a safe environment. Maybe police patrol the area or whatever. There's church security, what have you, whatever the case may be. But as much as possible, you don't want your back to the door. You want to be aware of your surroundings. You want to be ready for what might occur. And this happened in broad daylight, folks. I mean, it wasn't night. You don't want to pump gas at night. You don't want to pump gas at night alone, and you want to, make sure that you're as safe as you can be, your family's as safe as they can be in these type of situations. So if you have to shoot, you shoot to stop the threat. I have had to hold people at gunpoint several times. I've also scared people off by drawing my gun, and people flee because they were going to hurt me, and that wasn't going to happen, So I just wasn't going to let that happen. So they took off. I was in an armed security position in gangland area and so forth. I mean, I've been in a lot of tough scrapes. A lot of people have. You don't always talk about it all the time. You don't share it, but you don't forget. You don't forget. You also don't forget when you're a victim. You don't forget when you take beatings. You don't forget when you could have done something differently. And the bottom line is, you want to live, you want to survive, right? You don't want to get hurt badly. You definitely don't want your family hurt. You don't want your passengers hurt. So you got to do what you got to do. So if you don't want to carry, you don't want to learn anything, you don't want to do anything more than what you already do, then at least lock your car while you're pumping the gas. All right, just don't lock your keys in the car, like I said, but lock your car while you're pumping the gas, and that buys you some time, and it might even protect some people. It might discourage them enough where they're just like, oh man, we can't get in the car or whatever. But if they really, really want the car, yeah, they might beat you and take your keys or whatever. And it's up to you whether you want to carry or not, I guess. But I got to tell you, folks, it's getting bad, and it's only going to get worse. And these carjackings are going to be really bad. My daughter informed me, a coworker